All right, good morning. So we are trading around all-time highs on the index markets, and these markets are relentlessly grinding up. There will be a correction at some point. I don't know when. We could also start chopping sideways for a while and then continue higher. So this is a market where it's anyone's guess at what happens next. But I still think a lot of what I said the other day and was looking for why I'm being the weaker of the markets is still one that if we start seeing breakdowns on the ES, NASDAQ, and maybe even the Russell, that the Dow could be a prime candidate for shorting. That being said, today is looking a little bit different on the Dow. From a purely technical standpoint, the Dow looks like it has the most room to the upside, so the most strength in it. I did just want to take note that in the overnight session, we came up to that area where I thought there would be sellers, and we've drifted off from there. I would no longer be selling in this area. That doesn't mean it won't work, but that's just not a trade setup for myself. So I'll just be waiting to see if we do get any weakness in the next markets today to look for a short on the Dow. Then on oil, this is one that I feel an urge that I want to trade it, but at this moment, there's nothing I can really trade. However, if we do drift lower into this area below this 87.15 area, and then we start seeing some strength come in, that's where I'll be an interested buyer. But for now, there's too much confusion and I can create an argument for either direction. Gold is one that I think the opportunity has been missed, but I am interested in getting long. There was an area I wasn't around to trade this. It didn't quite touch it either, but I would have wanted to be a buyer here. But that's just a time when I'm not on my computer and it didn't quite touch it. So that's a missed opportunity there. Now that we have rallied from there, I'm just going to keep an eye out to look to see if we have any other buying opportunities on gold. However, if we do make new highs on gold, then I'll just back off it for today. When it comes to the other commodities, I'm not seeing any clarity. We've just continued drifting lower on natural gas, whereas copper and the currency markets are all showing similar situations of just not a lot of clarity. One last thing I want to note with copper, China did have a GDP beat above their estimate at 5%. And so that sort of thing with their correlation to their need for copper, I think we're at a point where we could see a bit of a pullback. Don't know what it's going to do after that, but just something I'm going to be watching today. Nothing I'm seeing as tradable action, but it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. So overall, just remember these are crazy markets right now, but we don't want to bet against the trend until it shows us that it's starting to break. So be careful out there. Happy trading.